Well, I mentioned in my last video that I was testing hot sauce recipes, and I had so much response from all of you that you wanted to know how I was making the hot sauce. So I thought that I would just do a really rough video for you here. I took pictures as I made my hot sauce so I would remember for myself how I made it. So I'm just going to put this together here to get you guys started and maybe encourage you to start testing your own recipes at home. This is not going to be a recipe video per se. I'm not going to have measurements, but I'll just show you how I started to put everything together, and that way you can start playing with your peppers too. These are not fermented hot sauce recipes. Those take a little bit longer. They're pretty popular, and I'm sure they have a lot of good flavor. This is just something that's kind of quick and easy. I just wanted to get started making hot sauces. So here's what I did. So basically I wanted to achieve a certain color with the peppers. So think about the end result of your pepper sauce when you start to put it together. You don't want it to be brown. If you use too many reds with greens, it'll be brown. So I'm using a lot of red with yellow so I can get kind of a deep orange color, and I'm using just a tiny bit of green. Now I also kept in mind the heat of the end product, and I didn't want to have too many hot peppers with just a little bit of sweet, so I mixed in some of the little red peppers that you see here. Those are not hot. Those are about 1 on the Scoville unit rating, and also the Havasu, I think that's how you pronounce it. It's the bigger yellow pepper. It's not real hot either. So I have a lot more of those than I do the, say, yellow cayenne and some of the red. I think I have a couple of red jalapenos in here too. So kind of keep that in mind as far as your hot sauce. You can always adjust the heat in the end if you need to bring the heat up. It's going to be hard to bring the heat down, okay? So I didn't want to overpower it for my first batch anyway. And I also put in here a couple of shallots and a couple of cloves of garlic on just a cookie sheet, and I popped it in the oven on broil on low and put it in my middle rack of the oven. I didn't want to get these charred or burn them. I wanted to just kind of sweeten them up, get them a little bit brown, so I flipped them halfway through the cooking process. So I guess I broiled them for about 15 minutes. So I transferred them to a casserole dish here. This is a 1-quart casserole dish. This will kind of give you an idea of the measurements here. And I let them just kind of cool, and then I removed the stems of all of the peppers and a little bit of the skin on some of those. Some of those have kind of a tougher skin. So I also added about 3 serrano peppers. Those just to kind of give it a fresh taste. These were not cooked. I did have some ones that were cooked in there too, okay? That's for a lot of that is for the heat. So I went ahead and I pureed this in my blender. I added apple cider vinegar just to kind of help it along, to make it easier to puree it. And then I transferred it to my little pan where I added some smoked habanero powder that I made. I just wanted to give it a hint of a smoky flavor. I don't want it to be a smoked hot sauce, but you could also add maybe like a smoked paprika if you have it. That might give it a good little hint of a flavor there. And then I went ahead and added some more of the apple cider vinegar along with a teaspoon or 2 of salt, and then I added just a little bit of dark brown sugar. I put this in a larger pan because I knew I was going to have to add more vinegar, and I cooked this outside. I simmered it for about 30 minutes, and I also added a little bit of Greek oregano, dried Greek oregano to it. You know, when you start working with hot peppers, they can get pretty hot sometimes and you'll start coughing. So I wanted to do this outside just to make sure it wasn't too hot. So after it simmered for about 30 minutes, I took it back inside and then I strained it through a fine mesh strainer. I used my spatula to kind of press down on it to make sure I would get all the good stuff. So at this point I tasted it and I wanted to add something just a little bit fresh to it. I was thinking maybe lime juice or something, and I thought, no, I think that onion juice would be good. So I grated an onion, a red onion, and I used about 1 tablespoon of that juice. I added it to the sauce and it really turned out nice. So I went ahead and bottled 1 bottle, and then I put the cap on there. You know, the hot sauce bottles have the little hole on the end to keep the sauce from flowing out too fast, and I think you can get those on Amazon. I got these in a place called Kitchen & Company, but I don't think there's a lot of locations of that place. But anyway, so I tested it. It wasn't too thick. I had accidentally pressed the video button there. So you got a little video shot of me testing the consistency of the sauce. Anyway, so it turned out really nice. I went ahead and bottled up the other 4 bottles there. Then I just continued to experiment. Every time I go down to the pepper garden, I just pick a few peppers, and now I'm just playing around with different recipes. I made a yellow sauce here. This one I made with the yellow cayenne that I'm growing. I actually tried also white wine vinegar with it and finished it with a little bit of lime juice. It was a good sauce, but I do think I like the apple cider vinegar better in these hot sauces. And then I did a red sauce with habaneros and red jalapenos, and I double strained this one so it was a little bit thinner, but I think I like it a little bit thicker, so I'm trying to label them as I go along. I'm also going to do a purple hot sauce. I guess I'm going to do every color of the rainbow, it looks like. At any rate, I hope that these little tips will get you started experimenting with your own recipes. That's why I put this out there, and when I do get a good recipe, I will post it for you. But I think that the fun part of making hot sauce is doing something different every time. So keep that in mind and make it your own, and have a wonderful weekend. Thanks so much for watching, and y'all have a beautiful day.